Hi, Stephanie.
Cole.
Why don't you tell everyone who you are?
I'm Stephanie Jeter, and I work with First American Home Warranty. I've been with them for 29 years, so I've been doing toilets and water heaters and air conditioning for many, many years.
I was at a conference and I met another sales rep and I was like, oh, I thought it was just Stephanie.
I know I've been around a long time, yes, for
Yeah,
sure. But there's a lot of us out there in California.
yeah.
Mhm.
So I want to talk to you today about home warranties and just what is a home warranty? What do people think it is? What's the biggest myth?
So, a home warranty is a 1 year policy that will cover systems and appliances within the home, depending on the coverage that you purchase. And it's there to repair or replace failed items that are covered. What I mean by that is when something fails, we will either repair it or replace it. So, if it fails, we might repair it once or twice. Then, if it doesn't work, we'll replace it. So, we just basically go off of our contractor's diagnoses and what's available parts wise, so on and so forth.
This is
And
different than insurance.
yes, I was just going to say the biggest confusion I think is I get calls a lot with Stephanie. I need a quote for a homeowner's policy for my new home. So it's an easy way to think about it is that homeowners does things we don't do and we do things they don't do. So we complement each other. So
Got it.
they'll take care of your major issues with your home, fire, flood, whatever your policy is. We take care of the things they don't cover, such as dishwashers, refrigerators, ovens, stoves, fans, ceiling fans, toilets, things they don't address.
Right. I'll tell you what made me so loyal to you and to First American Home Warranties because I get them for every client. And sometimes I even get them for sellers, which I want you to tell us about in a minute. But I had a client move in, and the day after they moved in, brown water was coming out of their faucet. They were trying to bathe their baby, and they called First American and got a little bit of pushback, which is understandable. And I called you and they had a new hot water heater within 24 hours. And then I had another client who her air conditioning went out like less than a week after moving in, and she ended up with a brand new giant, way better system. And I think it was like pennies out of her pocket.
Mhm.
So
Yes, it can be a big benefit. I always tell people in some cases it covers everything except for the service fee, which you pay for every claim. In other instances, it's going to cover a portion of it depending on what the item is. So if it's a large system like an HVAC or a water heater, depending on your coverage, which is really important to talk to, obviously, as a new buyer, really important to reach out to me as your contact and rep to decide what coverage you want, right? Because we have different levels of coverage. So you will have different amounts out of pocket depending on the coverage that you get. So that's really important to understand up front.
yeah, so I usually send people the brochure just so they know everything that's available for them. As you know, I'm usually maximizing
Yeah.
what is it? What, you don't call it the Eagle Plan anymore. What is it now?
Well, we've changed. So we actually have added a lot of options in the past few years because we've had the requests from brokers and homeowners. Can you please cover a little bit more? So we've added coverage into our policy, but we didn't put it in every package automatically because obviously if you're buying a new home that's 3 years old, your needs might be different than those buying a 25-year-old home.
Right.
Or if you're buying new construction, your needs are different than someone buying a 20-year-old home. Or if you're buying up in the foothills and you have a septic system or well pump, your needs are going to be different than somebody else's. So we don't automatically put all of these options into one package. So we have some starting base packages, which you're used to hearing as Value Plan, Eagle Premier, and now we have a Max Plan. So with each of these packages, they include different things, but then we also have probably 15 other options you can add onto those packages, depending on the specifics of your home.
Got it. Got it. So what do you think makes First American different?
I'd say we've been around for a lot of years. We're not a new pop-up company. So we have worked years on learning what's needed by buyers, how to work with contractors. And because we are such a large company, we're stable. We're not going anywhere. So I always say when you're working with insurance, that's really important, right? So having a company that's large and strong behind you that has the resources and the relationships with contractors. We've spent a lot of years getting good at what we do, right? And having departments. I have a department behind me that helps with my service claims when I'm out in the field doing different education classes or different meetings. So we have teams behind us that not all companies do. So when there is a need, you can call someone behind me, whether it's for a policy revision or whether it's for a service claim that you need help with. They've built it to where we have resources for the homeowners, not just the 800 number. Sometimes we need a little bit extra help, which is myself. They allow the reps to be involved in the claims. They allow the reps to be involved with the agent in the claims, to be able to help get the information we need, to be able to reach out to the contractors through our company and get answers for them. That sometimes when you're with a smaller company, you don't always get that. We've got a lot of good relationships to be able to get stuff that we need and information and be able to explain to the homeowners what that looks like and with different options.
Yeah, I know that you take your contractor relationships really seriously. I remember one time on my personal house, it was just something I was like, I think if Stephanie knew this, they wouldn't like this. And that contractor got removed from your world because it wasn't up to snuff. So that was
we do, and we do a rating system with our contractors. So with our contractors, we do, if we get, bad feedback, we actually do put that in our system, and we have a system that will watch the algorithms of a contractor. Are they late all the time? Are they not showing up? We are able to watch them and be able to help know how our claims are going through these different contractors. And we take that seriously. We want our customers to be satisfied and happy. So yeah, we do.
And doesn't First American, I think this is something I try to let people know, don't you change the locks?
We do. We have a rekey service. So you can actually, there's a service fee like with any other claim. So you pay $95 for your service fee, and then you can have them out to replace 6 locks. We'll rekey them, not really replace them, but rekey 6 locks and give 4 new keys. Mm-hmm. That's a great service. They forget about it a lot of times. So yeah, that's why it's important.
Does that have to be in the first year?
It's in the first year. That's in our real estate product. Yeah. So within the year.
Got it. Okay. And so tell us about seller's coverage and why someone would want to do that.
So I think when you list your house as a seller, most sellers don't want to put a lot of money into the house they're selling, right? They want to move on to the next home and they want to get their home sold. So when you have a home you're selling and there's a failure, you can have what we call a seller's policy that you can put on a home during listing and escrow period. And it's not to exceed 180 days, which obviously, let's just face it, if it's priced correctly and, a decent market, you're going to sell the home within that period. But we will go out and take repairs, replacements like we would in a buyer's policy for you as a seller. The only difference is we do have one limit that's different than the other policy, and that is for HVAC systems during seller's coverage, there is an aggregate of $1,500 for the HVAC system. And that is only during seller's policy.
Aggregate means what?
That means the max amount we'll give a buyer on repair for one of those systems is $1,500.
So in the seller's policy, that money is going toward the buyer?
No, that's going to go to repair the system. So if they have the HVAC fail, so you have a listing or you're in escrow and the AC fails, right? We'll send out a technician to diagnose and repair it. They have an aggregate, meaning the most we'll spend on that unit during the seller's coverage only is $1,500. Then when it closes escrow and they have a 1-year policy, that goes away and it's our regular policy with our regular limits and such, depending on
Mm-hmm. So when people are comparing home warranty companies, what should they be looking for?
I think you look for years in the business, right? Strength, financial strength, and the activity of the actual local reps. Because I think it's important to have the ability for your rep to be involved with claims and answer questions and help you, which that's not always the case. So I think that's a big benefit. Yes.
I've only ever talked to you, so I'm like, I don't know.
Well, yeah, and some companies don't allow the involvement of reps.
I see. What else do you want people to know about First American and or home warranties?
I think it's important to know that we're here to help, and the contractors that we contract with are all licensed and bonded and insured, but they're not us. They're not, people think it's First American employees. They're not. We contract to them. So if there's ever a question or not understanding something, please reach out to yourself to get a hold of me or reach out to me directly so that you can have assistance. We need to know if something's not being relayed properly. And the other thing is having the coverage correct, because if you don't have the right coverage or what you need, it can lessen your coverage on certain areas. So I think that's important. You don't want to have, for instance, a good example, main plumbing lines outside the home. We don't cover those in our standard packages. We only cover them if you have the max plan or if you've added on the plumbing plus option to one of our other packages. So that would be, that's an example, right? So we just want to be sure that there's communication when you're setting up your policy to ask those questions to get you the coverage you actually need.
Yeah, that plumbing one saved my client once. Whatever was between her and the sidewalk was where the leak was, and you guys came out and handled it.
Yeah, and it's important to know the limits and what to expect because, like I said, not all the options are all inclusive and some are. So some options cover the entire unit, others have limits. So just having those expectations set to know what you're getting is really important.
Do buyers ever call you before?
Yes. So I get buyers calling me beforehand to ask questions about the coverage, the home, what they might need or not need. And that's stuff that I think is really important to communicate either with myself or I have a service partner and I have an admin partner. So we're there as a team to help explain those things.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, you're amazing as always.
Thank you.
Anything else I need to know before we go?
I think one thing that's important, we just increased our discount. We have a discount. We used to have a Hero 25 discount. Now we have an Honor $75 discount. That's for any military, retired military, first responder. That could be fire, police, paramedic, nurses. So don't forget to take advantage of that. And then lastly, be sure they're providing us with a phone number and an email address, because we also, again, being a large company, we've spent many years finding out what's the best feedback we've gotten is from people after service, right? We'll contact them and say, how was your service? How did you feel? Our biggest complaint was not understanding how it worked, not understanding what the options were. So we've started a concierge service where we will call the buyer after the close of escrow, if we have their phone number in the system, and explain to them what their policy is, how to use it, how to place claims. This has lifted a lot of frustration from buyers, because because when you're in escrow, let's face it, you're dealing with loans and inspections, and there's all these things coming at you, and you could tell them, hey, this is covered, that's covered, and they're going to go, I don't remember anything she said because I was so overwhelmed. So
Right.
having a call after the close of escrow from our office, if we have a number and also an email, we'll send them information, is important for them to have that, I think, to have a better experience. So
Yeah.
that's an important factor.
That's perfect. I love it. Thank you so much,
You're
Stephanie.
welcome, Nicole. Thank you for having me. Thank you for all of your support over the years, and good luck.
Thank you. Talk to you soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, bye.